78 Sports TV here. Got a very, very good debate for you guys today. I got the brother Mike Soul and Tito Garcia, and they are going to debate LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. Who is the better player? Who would you rather have? That sort of thing. So Mike Soul is going to state the case for Michael Jordan, and Tito Garcia will state the case for LeBron James. Mike Soul, go ahead and state your case for Michael Jordan.
Okay. Well, if you're making an argument as, like, I would first want to say that I think LeBron James is one of the greatest players in NBA history. I think when all is said and done, I think LeBron probably end up not only being the most prolific small forward in NBA history, I think he'll be all around the greatest small forward that ever played the game. But if you're talking about, calling him the greatest player in NBA history, I can't go there with him. He has a lot. He would have to really play for the rest of his career like an insane type of level of basketball for me to even consider him the greatest player of all time. For one, I see a lot of weaknesses in LeBron's game. Compared to Michael Jordan. I think for his position, for instance, Michael Jordan was a better rebounder. Now, statistically, yeah, LeBron may average more rebounds than Michael Jordan, but, Michael Jordan played the majority of his game on the perimeter. LeBron James is a little bit closer to the basket. Generally, with the position, the further you go inside, the higher the rebound goal is. People make the case how great an athlete LeBron James is, and why was Larry Bird able to average double-digit rebounds for his career versus LeBron now having one season where he averaged double-digit rebounds. I think that Michael Jordan was just as good a passer as LeBron James. I think the issue is that he had seasons where he played the point guard position. I remember in the 88-89 season, he had like a streak where he had something like 10 triple-doubles in 15 games or something like that. He averaged 8 assists that season. The problem is when Scottie Pippen was a player and he became the primary ball handler, Michael Jordan's role changed, and he was no longer a distributor because he was primarily just there for scoring. But I think when Michael Jordan actually did play that role, he was just as good a ball handler and at least as good a distributor as LeBron James. The one area where I would say that LeBron maybe was better than Michael is three-point shooting. But as far as overall shooting, the edge, I think, goes to Michael. As far as scoring, I think the edge goes to Michael, not only through scoring average, but the fact that LeBron, as dominant as he supposedly is, he's never led the league in scoring but one time. Michael Jordan retired 2 times and still won 10 scoring titles. Probably could have won 13. On the defensive end of the ball, LeBron James is a great defender. He's an above-average defender. He's been one of the best, I'd say, 5 defenders in the league the past 5 to 6 years. There was a stretch when Michael Jordan, in his prime, from 1987 to 92, I would say he was the best all-around defensive player and offensive player in the NBA. I don't know if we've ever seen that for that longer stretch. A guy you could say was the best offensive and defensive player in the NBA. I think Michael Jordan made, when you consider the teammates that he had, he made his teammates better, much better when they were playing with him as opposed when they were on other teams, which was one of the criticisms that he had when he was younger about other people, that he didn't make his teammates better, which was bullshit. I mean, if you look at some of the guys he played with outside of Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, some of these guys, you never heard, like, they went to the Bermuda Triangle after he left the team. Guys like Judge Bushler, all right, Steve Kerr, yeah, he did win championships with other teams, but the guy was never good enough to start. But he looked like Jonathan Petrovic at times. He was playing with the Chicago Bulls. It's just so many different things. Also, also one other point I want to make, because I don't want to monopolize the time. When it comes to clutch situations, that's where there's a big disparity between the two. I watched LeBron, and he comes off to me more as a front runner. When his team is up by 8, 12, 15 points, I don't know whether he has a little bit more confidence in certain situations. That's when he's a little bit more aggressive offensively. But when his team is on the line, sometimes he has a tendency to shy away from the moment, tends to be passive. He also just doesn't sometimes tend to rise to the occasion. Michael Jordan, more than any other modern player that we can think of, rose to the occasion. And that's just a little bit of why I think Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James.
Okay. Tito Garcia, state your case.
All right, well, first of all, this kind of sucks because I hate LeBron James guts. I'm a Celtics fan, and I used to hate Jordan, but I like him now. I respect him. I think he's cool. To me, and a lot of people are going to, they're going to disagree. But it is what it is. Everybody just calls Jordan the greatest player of all time, and, I think he's overrated. It doesn't mean he's not a superstar. It doesn't mean he's not one of the best of all times. But, some of the things that Mike said, as far as, I'll start with Jordan, as far as making players around him better, that's absolute fiction. That's one of the great myths of Jordan. He's a known ball hog. He couldn't work with the early, the point guards early on. He got a couple of them shipped out so they brought Paxson in because, Jordan needs to drive and dish, and most point guards are driving dish. So Jordan drove them out of town. And, as far as making players better, if that's the case, all the when he left, they all had their best seasons. When he retired the first time, Scottie Pippen had his best season ever. People say that Jordan made Pippen. That's just not true. And people say that Michael Jordan is the best defender. Yeah, Michael Jordan was a great defender, dude. In '88, he was like the best on the ball defender I've ever seen. LeBron James is a clear better defender than Michael Jordan because you got to look at the whole game. Okay, if you're a coach, LeBron James can cover all 5 positions, and he can do it like good. He could get a center. He regularly guards point guards. Regularly, okay? He always guards the best player. Now, in Jordan's early years, yes, he guarded his best player. But not during the championship years, he didn't. That was Pippen. Pippen was a monster on defense. Some say he's the greatest defensive player of all time. And I'm not just saying that. People say that about Pippen. Look it up. So, Jordan doesn't make his teammates better because you would think that, when Jordan retired after that first championship run, that, everybody's field goal percentages were going to go down because, people double team Jordan now, they can go on Pippen, right? Well, Pippen's field goal percentage went up, Everybody on the team went up, okay? Pippen scored more points, of course, because he's going to get more shots, but I look at field goal percentage. But it's like baseball, ERA. You don't look at wins, you look at ERA. So, yeah, as far as, defensively, why did all the players get better? Why? And, the season that he left, okay, when LeBron James left Cleveland, dude, they fell 43 games, okay? If Jordan carried, the Bulls to the championship, the facts are Jordan went to a very, very good Bulls team, okay? He couldn't make them win when he came on. That big fat guy, Krause, he went out and got Horace Grant, went out and got Scottie Pippen, 2 great players. Pippen, one of the greatest players of all time, top 50 NBA, and that's when Jordan started winning. I'm not saying they would have won those titles without Jordan. Actually, they wouldn't have won them without Jordan. However, they wouldn't have won them without Pippen either. There's not a chance, okay? When LeBron James was 18-year-old LeBron James versus 18-year-old Jordan, LeBron wins. 19-year-old James, LeBron wins. Each age group, they win, okay? As far as a better rebounder, I don't think he might be the only guy in the world that thinks that. LeBron James is a player. If you said to him, I want you to go out and get a triple-double tonight, there's a better chance than not that he can do it. That old Larry Bird thing you said, it's because Larry Bird played defense, dude, on the guy down low. So he's right there for the defensive rebound. LeBron James covers the point guard or the small forward, the best player on the team, okay? And it just comes down to this, man. Who would you draft if you're a GM, Mike? If you're a GM, would you draft? And you knew what you know now, and they're both coming out. Would you draft Jordan or would you draft James? And to me, the easy question is James. When he is, he's a bigger, stronger, and yes, faster player than Jordan. He's a better assist man career-wise. He's a way better rebounder career-wise. Jordan averaged 2.5 points for his career so far, more than James. 2.5 points. Remember, the three-point line was moved in from majority of Jordan's career, through the mid-'90s. The East was very weak in the '90s. Okay, there was 5 expansion teams that came in the '90s. Okay, I know LeBron has expansion teams too, but that weakened the pool for Jordan. I mean, I don't want to put down Jordan over James, but to me, it's just so clear, man. He's a perfect physical specimen. He can literally guard a center and muscle up with him. Jordan couldn't do that. So that's a defensive thing. A coach, dude, he can do all kinds of mismatches. He can rest. He can do whatever he wants because he's got LeBron James on the floor. So it's just like, man, if you're an NBA GM, people just don't want to admit it. But it's like, I think every GM in the world, I'm definitely taking James. And if you take Jordan, my team is going to be more successful than your team. Absolutely, without a doubt. Faster and more successful. Now, in the clutch, Jordan's missed more game-winning shots than he's made. Is he more clutch? Yeah. The only thing I think Jordan is better than James is driving to the hoops. James is a better passer. He's a better rebounder. He's a better defender. He's a better dunker. I don't know why people say Jordan's a better dunker. You say, oh, dunker's not part of the game. Yes, it is. It's absolutely part of the game. Jordan it's all media, man. Michael Jordan won that slam dunk contest against Dominique Wilkins. Just watch it, man. You really think he won that? His claim to fame, his greatest dunk, was that he was, from behind the free throw line. But here's the thing, dude. He wasn't behind the free throw line. His foot was over the free throw line. That might sound petty, but he just, it was his agent, David Falk, that came up with the whole Air Jordan thing, and Nike exploded, and everybody's got to have the sneakers. And he's a gifted athlete. He's as far as basketball goes, I don't know where he gets this great athlete thing with Jordan. He's a subpar golfer. He's a terrible baseball player. I mean, but it sucks that I'm putting down Jordan. But I just want to ask Mike this: would you take Jordan over James coming out?
Who, me?
Yeah, if you're a GM.
Absolutely. I'll take my Jordan over
Okay. Hey. Well, with that said, Tito, since you asked him, I gotta let Mike get in there now because.
Sorry, I'm yelling because I got rain and shit. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Just some points I want to make. Number one, about a lot of people bring that up. A lot of people bring this up about when LeBron left, Cleveland, tumbled so many losses, and why did Chicago still stay, like a very good team? And actually, we were talking about that on my channel some months ago. But anyway, one of the reasons is, number one, it wasn't just LeBron that left after that season. Basically, the head coach left. I think a lot of the coaching staff left. Some key players left that team. I mean, yeah, a lot of players still were there, but if you take away all of that, then what direction does the team have? I mean, your leaders on the court and on the sidelines are gone. The key players are gone. With Chicago, that was different. There was some differences there. Number one, a lot of the key players that were on those championship teams in the mid to late 90s arrived that year. Ron Harper arrived that year. Tony Kukoc arrived that year. All right? Steve Kerr, even though I don't think he's a great all-around player. Judd Bushler, Luke Longley, all these guys were coming on these teams. They weren't great players, but they were solid players that were solid role players. Phil Jackson was still the helm of that team. All right? And Phil Jackson should have won Coach of the Year, in my opinion, in the 93-94 season. And I will give Scottie Pippen credit. Scottie Pippen probably played the best, excuse my language, fucking basketball of his career that season, especially the first couple of months. But Jordan played the best basketball of his career, and they adjusted to Jordan's absence because they knew they didn't have the same offensive punch. So what they did, if I remember serving correctly, was they slowed down the pace of the game, and they won a lot of games with their defense. And they overachieved that year, too. They did. I'm not taking away from it, but they overachieved a lot. But another thing, too, rebounding is a big part of basketball. and they still had Horace Grant. And when Horace Grant left in free agency after that year, that was when they really tumbled and struggled the next season. But then when Jordan came out of retirement, they went from being around 500 to still making the playoffs because of Michael Jordan. So I just think it's a false argument to say that Michael Jordan didn't have an effect when they left the team. I just don't. I don't. A lot of those players were in their primes too. Scottie Pippen was in his prime when he played in the mid '90s. The mid '90s, he was entering his absolute prime as a player.
I agree.
Okay. Now you said that you think that LeBron James is faster than Michael Jordan.
Yes. No, I said no. Well, they're about the same speed. It's class on their 40, so I don't know. You know, I know it's different. I get all that.
I know LeBron, if I remember correctly, he ran a 4.44 or 4.45, and Michael, at his fastest, ran a 4.28, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I know they're both extremely fast, but from me watching them, I think another thing too, I think people are remembering post-retirement Jordan too much. The guy that played from 95 to 98, and they think that was him in his prime, and he wasn't. He wasn't the same athlete. He wasn't the same guy as he was when he was back in the 80s, early 90s. Robert Ory has stated that he thinks that Michael Jordan is stronger than LeBron James, and he played against both of them. And he's saying that he thinks Michael Jordan, particularly when he came out of retirement, when he bulked up, when he was about 6'6", 210 pounds, he thinks Michael Jordan is at least, I take that back, he said he thinks he's at least as strong as LeBron James was. And LeBron James...
Do you think he was?
Do I think he was?
Yeah.
Watching him play, I think that he if he wasn't as strong, he was damn near. Especially when he came out of retirement the first time. He was a much stronger player. In the 80s, Michael sometimes, even though he was a great finisher, like the Pistons showed, if you put contact on him, sometimes he didn't have the strength to finish certain plays. When he was older, I remember it's the game, man, you can watch on YouTube when he was playing against the Pacers, and he was going against the Davis brothers, and he was driving to the basket, and he put those guys on their ass. And those guys were like 250, 260. He was a very freakishly strong guy, despite the fact that he was so wirily built. And in his prime, he had a 47-inch vertical. I just don't buy that LeBron James is a better athlete than Michael Jordan, especially in his prime. I also think it's not fair to compare statistics while LeBron is still in his prime, because you're comparing a guy in his prime to a guy who played his entire career, including his entire downside. I think it's fair to compare the two in their prime, or at least either at the same age or the same amount of seasons or games played. Because Michael in his prime, instead of putting up 30.1 points, 3 rebounds and 5 assists, he's putting up more like 32.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, a little over 6 assists. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. And shooting percentage-wise, I think Jordan still holds an edge over LeBron James career-wise, even though LeBron had those seasons shooting almost 60% from the field.
All right, let's go to Tito.
All right, well, it seems like kind of a contradiction, because you said when we first talked, you said, you know, Jordan made those around him better, and then you said the Bulls didn't drop because the team was already so good, such as Pippen and those guys. And that's what I'm saying. He wasn't on it. The whole point of the argument for Jordan, people say he willed the team to win. He made his teammates better. Without him, there would have been nothing. And again, in the season after he retired, you know, if you Bulls and Knicks fans out there that follow what that Pippen had on Hubert Davis, in Game 5? You remember that, Mike, right?
What would you say?
When they lost the playoffs to the Knicks, it was that Game 5 foul. Pippen got all pissed off and wouldn't come in the game. Kukoc took the shot. That definitely wasn't a foul. So they win that Game 5. They beat the Knicks. They definitely beat the Pacers. That team, and they would have lost to Houston in the finals that year. I believe, but still, they would have got there. So, that just seems to me like it's a myth. And you just said guys weren't as good when they weren't with the Bulls. Well, Rodney was awesome in Detroit. That's where he had his best years. He won 2 titles. He started at 7 straight, rebounding titles in Detroit. Then he went to San Antonio, I believe. Won another title there before that. But yeah, his best years were in Detroit, I believe. And as far as, hold on. As far as, again, everyone's field goal percentage went up. Like, how could that be? Now, LeBron James, when he left that team, you said those guys. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, Shaq was on that team. He was a joke by then. I mean, that was a 66-win team. They dropped 42 games when he left. When LeBron came into the league, okay, they were plus 17. Jordan was plus 7. Jordan had. You say like Jordan made the playoffs and LeBron didn't. Yeah. Jordan was making the playoffs with losing records. So he was a loser. He wasn't a winner. I mean, I'm not calling Michael Jordan himself a loser, but he wasn't a winner. LeBron James came in, and they said they won 35 games. Then they won 50. LeBron James in that one season, dude, they won 66 games. And you're right, they did lose some key players, some names when he retired, like Antoine Jamison. He turned out to be a bust, though. Anyways, he to Golden State. I saw him for years. So anyways, I mean, that's the key thing right there. He dropped 42 games, and the Bulls dropped 2. So that's saying that Michael Jordan did not make his teammates better. Phil Jackson himself said that in his book, Sacred Hoops, that we're probably going to drop 15 to 20 games, and they did. Phil Jackson himself said, I can't have Michael Jordan play point guard because he's a ball hog. Phil Jackson, the guy who you said is the greatest coach of all time. So, if you respect his opinion, he said he's too turnover prone, which he is, and, he can't play point. LeBron James can play point. Now, put it this way, back to the defensive thing, man, it's so crucial. It's like, if they were playing each other, James would be on Jordan the whole game. Jordan would not be on James. They'd be totally, all 4 guys would be switching except for the center on James the whole game. And people say, oh, well, Jordan, he had to get a rest because he was such a scorer. Well, I've heard people say that to me. It's like, well, he did his first 8 years, and that's kudos to you. You said he wasn't as good, the second time around, and that's correct. But both of them in their primes, both of them coming into the league, I don't know, man. It just seems like a no-brainer because when he first came in, LeBron James, dude, he was 18 years old. What was Jordan at 18 years old? Who was the better 18-year-old?
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm just asking, and who was the better 19-year-old? And who was the better 20-year-old? And who was the better 20? You know what I'm saying? So, again, to end my little rant here is, it comes down to this. LeBron James, better three-point shooter. He averaged 2.5 points less. Okay, so Jordan was a better scorer. Now, the most important thing that makes a person a true superstar in basketball is you have to be able to create your own shot no matter what. There's only about 8 guys in the league where no matter what, you can create your own shot. Jordan was the best at that. He was probably better than LeBron James at that, and that's crucial. No matter what, you got 2 guys on you, you'll find a way to create a shot. But James can jump over guys with a 6'8" frame. And I mean, whatever Robert Horry says, he's probably friends with Jordan. I don't think anybody listening to this could possibly think that Michael Jordan is stronger than a 6'8", 260-pound guy. And by you saying that, they ran a 0.1 of a second difference, and he's 50 pounds heavier, dude. Well, I mean, what does that tell you? Who's better athlete? 50 pounds heavier, and they're basically running the same.
Well, okay. I think it has to. Okay, you're talking about 3-point shooting. Michael Jordan didn't play in a game that had a 3-point line until he became a professional. So in college, the 3-point line was instituted until 1986, I think. I might be a year off. It's 85 or 86. So that's something he had to implement into his game. When he was playing, most guys were more interested in shooting mid-range or shooting a high percentage shot or trying to be more efficient as a scorer. The NBA itself didn't really become 3-point trigger happy until probably the mid-90s. And
it was the line in.
Huh?
Hey,
It was the line in the mid-90s.
All right, you guys, you can't do that. You know, let him finish his point. Otherwise, he might forget, and then we'll end up somewhere else.
Sorry, Mike.
Okay. And another point I want to make too. You said something. I think you said you thought that the NBA now is more talented than it was in the '90s. And I really have to disagree with that. I mean, even in the period of time we're talking about the mid to late '90s, and I agree the NBA was starting to decline then. But even then, okay, okay. For instance, I remember in the '97 playoffs, in the first round, the Bulls played the Bullets. It was the last series they ever played under that name, and that's a team. They were AC, and they had Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, Calvin Chaney, Tracy Murray, Rod Strickland, George Mirasan. It wasn't a great player, but the guy was fucking 7'7", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, in today's NBA, that team will win over 50 games. I guarantee you. And you said that the Eastern Conference was weak. I don't agree with that, man. I mean, the Knicks were getting older, but they still were a force. You had the Miami Heat that had Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, Kurt Thomas, Dan Marley come off the bench, Deshaun Leonard, who used to really give Jordan problems. You had Ike Austin, I remember, come off the bench. Some other players on the team I can't think of right now. That team was pretty solid. You still had Indiana to deal with Reggie Miller and Chris Mullin, and Bird was coaching them. Then you had the Orlando Magic before Shaq got traded to the Lakers. Well, actually got traded, when he signed as free agent with the Lakers, Orlando. They're still pretty good when Shaq left. It was still a pretty good team, not championship though. There's still other good teams like Detroit Pistons with young prime Grant Hill. There was more challenges to the Bulls on a yearly basis than I think LeBron James had with Miami. And I want to make another last point too. I got to go there. LeBron James, to me, will never be on the same level as a Michael Jordan, and in some ways a Larry Bird and a Magic, because he built on his team, man. I mean, people can't.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sorry. The way it tarnishes his legacy to an extent, because Jordan kept a lot of players from ever winning championships. It was him. It wasn't that these guys sucked. It wasn't that Charles Barkley sucked. It wasn't that Karl Malone sucked, or Patrick Ewing, or John Stockton, or all these other guys sucked. Instead, they ran into a roadblock with the Chicago Bulls. Now, I think personally that Scottie Pippen is a top 50 all-time player. All right? I think he's one of the greatest small forwards of all time. But I do think that Michael Jordan had a lot to do with the development of Scottie Pippen. I do. Scottie Pippen, I remember the earlier incarnation of Scottie Pippen. All right? The guy who whined a lot. The guy who migraines headaches Scottie Pippen. The guy who was questioned about his toughness. Do you think LeBron James could have made Scottie Pippen the player he was? I do not think so. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't think so. There's just a completely different mental toughness capacity when it comes to Jordan and when LeBron James. It's just, it's sometimes it's an eye test thing. Like, you watch this guy, and yeah, LeBron has a lot of talent, but there's something missing. And I also don't think that LeBron James is 270, 280. I don't buy that.
260, I said. 250, 260. That's,
okay, I'll buy that. 250, 260. I'll buy that.
No, he's not 280. No way.
All right, let me jump in for a second. But I'm gonna give both of you guys.
One last chance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
okay,
before I give you guys an opportunity to to do your closing statements or whatever, I want to interject a question here as the moderator, and I want both of you guys to talk about it for a minute. Because I didn't hear anybody touch on this.
Well, I still got my turn. We're going him, me, and then, you know.
Okay, well, go ahead, Tito, and I'll come back to you.
I won't go long. I just want to make a couple of points.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, he went, then I went, then he went, then I went, then he went, then now I go, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, you said?
No, yeah, go ahead, Tito.
But Michael's, you know, back to Pippen. You know, Michael Jordan never had a winning season without Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen had many winning seasons without Jordan. You know, when he was with Houston, and then when he was with Portland. So, you know, I don't know, that message belongs not you, but in general. And, you know, again, Phil Jackson said on many occasions that, you know, Jordan as a teammate was a terrible teammate. You know, those words never came out of Phil Jackson's mouth, but he's hinted that he's a bad teammate. You know, he punched the one dude in the face. He basically got Charles Oakley moved out of town because Oakley was, you know, he's Bill. He ain't gonna take no shit from nobody. And Jordan was scared of him, so he's like, get this guy out of here, you know, get Bill Cartwright. That's what that trade was, right, Mike? Cartwright for Oakley. But anyways, so the Knicks, you know, the Knicks, you know. Go ahead. You say that the Knicks were good, you know, good in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, I love Ewing. Everybody did. But what were they? Starks, Charles Smith. You know, the front line was Ewing, and then who? Charles Smith and Oakley. Dude, that's you know, that's a big line, but that's not a scoring line. The Knicks were winning games, you know, 75-71. Now, I said today maybe the players were better, but the teams were better back then, for sure. And in Jordan's defense, yeah, he was getting hit a lot. He was getting banged a lot. He did get every call, but he was getting put on his ass, you know. So in Jordan's defense, he played with tougher players in a tougher era. But I'm not necessarily better players, just tougher, stronger, and the rules went by. But, you know, look at this. Look at it like this, okay? To me, Michael Jordan's best season, his best championship run, pales in comparison to when LeBron James won the 66 games with nobody, okay? They were down 2-0 to Detroit, the defending champions, down 2-0, and he won 4 straight games. That was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. That one game, Game 5, he scored 29 of the last 30 points in the fourth quarter to end the game. He hit the game-winning layup. I mean, that's better than anything Jordan's ever done. I mean, that series, although they didn't win the championship, and I know people out there are saying, "Want to bring up the championships, Mike." That's what everybody's thinking, and I get that. But again, he was on a team loaded with talent. People say that the Bulls weren't. They were loaded with talent. All those dudes. You know, even Ron Harper, he was sick when he was with the Clippers with Danny Manning. Then he blew his knees out, but he was still a great player. Go ahead, 78.
Okay, my question to you guys is this, because I haven't heard you guys bring it up. Is I want both of you guys to talk about the playoff performances of each guy, and from your perspective. Let's start with Mike.
And we'll help there, Mike, by 78.
No, I got more questions, man. Don't try to make no excuses, Tito.
All right. Me first or Tito?
Well, let Tito go since Tito said I'm helping you.
Okay, well, playoff performances again. You know, Jordan was clutch. I know you can bring up he never went to 7 games in the finals and all that, and that's fine. But again, you tell me who he had. Okay, now we can go back to the first playoff performance. The first finals run with the Heat? Yeah, he shit the bed. He choked. There's nothing to say about that. I think there was one game. People were saying, you know, he was passing too much. He gave up a couple game-winning shots and dished them off. And I think Chris Bosh said he'd rather have Wade take it. But you want to talk about playoff performances? Their playoff stats, James averages 2 more rebounds a game, assists and a half per game. Their steals are the same, and Jordan averages 5 more points. Better field goal percentage in the playoffs. Field goal percentage is huge. I think it's more than points because I'm shooting better than you. If I took just as many shots as you, I'd score more. Field goal percentage and his free throw percentage and his three-point field goal percentage. They're all better. He's better in every stat in the playoffs except for scoring, and it's only 5 points.
All right, Mike, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think he tried to duck that one, about 2011 playoffs, the finals. That was LeBron's performance in that finals was so atrocious. Now, a lot of people that I know A lot of people in the media who were calling LeBron the best player in the NBA basically start saying that. They basically start saying, you know what, maybe this guy is only one of the best players in the NBA. LeBron averaged, I think, something like almost 9 points fewer in that final series than he did during the regular season, which is absolutely unacceptable and atrocious for a so-called superstar player. Another thing I noticed, too, about LeBron is he tends to struggle. It's kind of unfair because 2007, I don't really count that because they really shouldn't make the finals anyway. But they really struggle against great defensive teams, like teams that really have play really good overall defense. I think LeBron really struggled. I mean, any player will be slowed down by that, but LeBron really struggles against teams like San Antonio. And I think if they were to play San Antonio again, even though I don't think Cleveland's going to the finals, they will struggle again. LeBron has a losing record in the finals. When we think of LeBron and playoffs, we have a mixed perception. His last game as a professional in the postseason, he lost. And what did he do? He bailed on Miami. When we think of Michael Jordan, basically, I don't even think regular season with Jordan. I think of finals. I think of playoffs. All of the great moments that this man has had in the postseason is unprecedented. All right? The guy came from a broken foot when like his career could be on the line. He played against arguably the biggest front court in NBA history with the Boston Celtics.
Oh, you had to bring that up, didn't you?
Yep, I had to bring that up. Not only that, people forget he scored 49 the first fucking game. All right? Then, yeah, they did lose to Boston. And I heard people say, well, Jordan lost his first 9 playoff games. Well, okay, he played against the Milwaukee Bucks, who had probably the best team they ever had in the mid-'80s outside of the championship teams in the early 70s, when they had Paul Percy and Sidney Moncrief and Terry Cummings. They played against that team, okay. Then they played against Boston twice. Okay, talk about getting the short end of the stick. Then they had to play against the Detroit Pistons. Then they had to play against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs. And Jordan still put up phenomenal moments and phenomenal performances. He still holds the record for the highest points per game in an opening round series, over 45 points. He holds the record for finals, 41 points a game. All right, he shares the record with Shaq for the highest scoring average in finals games overall with 33.6, I believe. All right, so when it comes to the postseason, there's really no comparison with these two. None.
I disagree.
Okay.
I guess it's not.
Go ahead. If you wanna rebuttal, go ahead, Tito.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was bringing up how on bad teams when he was playing, when he was on bad teams, how Jordan was still lighting him up for points. Well, if you want to bring that up, yeah, he dropped 63. He also had exactly 0 assists. LeBron James put up 6 points when he was on the Cleveland teams in the playoffs.
That's not true.
Nothing like a 63. But here's my main point. My main point of this is Jordan has put up some major clunkers in the playoffs, right? So did LeBron, but Jordan's had like a 6 for 24 game in the finals, right? LeBron James, what is he known for? What is his worst game in the playoffs? It's that Game 5 against Boston when they said he quit. Remember his fans were booing him? He's known for that. You know what his numbers were that night? 29 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists. His worst game, his clunker, is 29 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists. Jordan 63.9, he had 0 assists, dude.
No, that's not true. He had 5 assists that game, and I can fact check that.
I pulled it out of my ass.
Oh, Tito, come on, Tito. You can't get caught lying on camera. All right, go ahead.
No. You know what? Somebody did. I think maybe the Kobe 81 points. I don't have anything in front of me, dude. Remember I said I'll do this all by faith? I have nothing in front of me. Nothing.
And also, I just looked up something. I got to correct you on something. You said that LeBron shoots a high percentage in the postseason Are you talking about for his career? Because that's not true. I'm looking up right now. LeBron shoots 48.2% in the postseason. Jordan 48.7%. And Jordan also shoots better from a 3-point line in the playoffs as well. And
I looked it up the other day, and it said different. Source, please, because I pulled the other one out of my outside. I don't believe that.
Okay.
Jordan shoots better in the postseason.
Well, I looked it up the other day too, and it said in the playoffs he had a better field goal and 3-point field goal percentage. LeBron James did. That's what I saw.
All right. Well, we'll let the people in the comment section do fact checking. But go ahead, Tito. Why don't you give your closing argument?
My closing argument is this, man. Like, Jordan. He had a shoe deal. He's a billionaire. He's got the billionaire. He's got all this shit. But it's like, he changed the game for the worse. Like, kids just want to dunk and all that, and that's not the fundamental. Dude, Jordan was great. There's no question about it. But this myth that, like, the will to win, I'm going to put everybody on my back, that was totally dispelled when he left the Bulls. When he left the Bulls, they won 2 less games. I know I keep bringing it up, and every player was better. And people think he took 2 years off. Well, he didn't. He actually came back. People forget that. He came back. He didn't have 2 years off, and they lost to the Magic. And they lost because of him, because he got stripped, right? So, and people are like, oh, well, Jordan was rusty. No, he wasn't. He scored 55 against the Knicks the week before. So he wasn't rusty, And the reason why they lost is because they lost Horace Grant. So their perimeter defense, that just goes back to me saying it's the other players. Without them, Jordan doesn't win those titles. That's going back to me saying it. So, he had all-stars all around him. Those Bulls teams were great, okay? And the facts are, the Cavs teams sucked. There's not a chance in hell that Michael Jordan would have come close to even 50 games on those Cavs teams. Not a chance. And he was winning 66 and 61. LeBron was.
Okay, are you done, Tito?
Yeah. That was a terrible debate by me. Shit.
No, you're good. All right, go ahead, Mike. Your closing statement.
No, you did good, man. Look, like I said, I think that LeBron James is one of the best players of all time. I also don't want to come off one of these guys that think that Jordan was some god. All right, he did have bad shooting games. All right, he did have bad performances, particularly as he got older. But I think sometimes people remember Wizards Jordan or the Jordan after retirement when he still was a great player. I still think he was the best player in the game, but he wasn't what he was when he was in his prime. And that's the guy I'm defending. The Jordan from about 1987 to about 92 or 93 was.
Can I defend Jordan?
No, wait, Tito, you can't do that, man. He doing his closing statement.
But I'm not helping. I just want to say something about Jordan. I'll wait. Son good. Better than Dick. Go ahead. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know how this debate shit works.
It's okay. I just think that I've never seen a guy that played like that. He on a whole entire another level as a basketball player. He really had. I mean, it's hard for me to explain. Like, he was so fucking dominant on both sides of the court on a daily basis that when he had a bad shooting game, it was like news. It was like, okay, Jordan shot 11 for 27. Like, what the fuck? What happened that night? Like, LeBron, okay, like the last couple of years, he has increased his level of play, he's increased his efficiency or whatever, but there's just there's a complete difference between the two guys as far as consistent overall play on a daily basis. LeBron sometimes can be passive, all right? He doesn't have the same mindset as a Michael Jordan or to a lesser guy, Kobe Bryant, who I think is overrated, but still, he doesn't have that extra gear sometimes to push himself to legendary performances. Like, do you think Michael Jordan would left a game because of quote unquote cramps? Excuse me? I've never fucking seen that. I've never seen a guy who LeBron. He sometimes it's like he just checks out mentally. Sometimes, like I just it's hard for me to put in perspective what I'm exactly trying to say. There's just a complete difference in these guys, mentally, physically, and just their overall performance and effectiveness on their teams they played on. It's not the same level. It's just not.
Okay, well, you know, you keep bringing up the post Jordan, you know, the second Jordan, saying he wasn't as good. I don't think he was. He was even, that to me was made it so great. There's like, I can think of three, you know, transitions. The way Jordan, he did slow down a little, but he developed that back down fadeaway. And, you know, he really didn't have the first 3 years, and he knew he had to do it. And he took that to Washington with him. You know, people don't realize he scored 20 points a game in Washington at 40 years old. You know, so that was Pro Jordan. And the way he transformed his game on the second run was nothing short of amazing. But at the same time, you know, if people that watch hoops now, I don't watch as much now as I did. The way, you know, LeBron James, when they first lost to the Mavericks with Miami, dude, he worked with the team all summer, and the way he transformed his game, and he started playing on the low block, that was amazing. I mean, the only other player I can remember ever transforming their games like those two players was when Larry Johnson blew his back out. Because, I mean, Larry Johnson was, you know, ridiculous awesome. He blew his back out, and then he turned it into, like, you know, he developed that back-down dribble game. So he completely changed his game. So, you know, that shows hard work and determination from all of them. I don't think anybody can question, you know, either of them's hard work and determination. I'm just saying, man, you know, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, and he got them in every statistical category. I mean, we can say heart and this and that, but again, man, if they're coming out of college, I'm taking James 10 times out of 10 times over Jordan. Jordan is a two-guard. What's the number one thing in the league that, you know, is filled with talent? You could always find a two-guard, always. When are you ever going to find a guy that can play all five positions on offense and definitely all five positions on defense? You're not. He's definitely more valuable, you know, and he's definitely a better player.
So, okay, so is that why Bobby Knight said that he told the Portland general manager to, because he knew that they needed a center, he told them to draft Jordan, play him at center, because he was getting.
They had Clyde Drexler, dude. They had Clyde Drexler. What would they draft Jordan for? They had Drexler already. They had a two-guard. They had Clyde the Clyde.
The fact that Bobby Knight told them draft Jordan anyway, even though he needed a center and they needed a shooting guard. And that's the same draft they had Hakeem Olajuwon. I mean, like I said, I have a lot of respect for LeBron James, but
I hate that guy.
I don't hate him. He irritates me. I'm actually a fan of LeBron James, but he's irritated me a little bit in the last few years with his arrogance, you know, as a person. He's a douchebag to an extent, but as a player, what'd you say?
Jordan's known as a major douchebag, but whatever.
Yeah, he is big time. Yeah, big time. He's on a whole nother level.
But he's Michael fucking Jordan. He's allowed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
LeBron, no. See, the thing about LeBron, man, this is why I hate LeBron. I'm a Celtics fan, of course, and you know, again, man, like, you know, I used to work at CBS Sports and I did a live scoring for NBA hoops, and I was a kid, I worked with these dudes, these kids, and they'd be like, Tracy McGrady's way better than Paul Pierce. I'd sit there arguing with them. Vince Carter's way better than Paul Pierce. And then 5 years later, Paul Pierce is still there, but, you know, these guys are just, you know, they're in and out fast. You know, Jordan has staying power. You know, LeBron James definitely has staying power. When LeBron James was in 8th grade, you know, GMs, you want to bring up coaches, you know, yeah, I'm going to bring up age. He said in the 10th grade, this dude right now could play in the NBA, and I believe it. In 10th grade.
Well, let me bring up this one other point, which is, you keep talking about how LeBron James is so much stronger and faster and all that.
I'm faster.
Well, okay, just as fast, or almost as fast, but you say he's bigger and stronger. Okay, how was a 6'6", well, really, in barefoot, a 6'4" and 3/4", 190-pound guard, able to shoot 54% from the field? How was he able to have 6 seasons? Tom Jordan. He had seasons where he shot 52%, 53%, 54% from the field. How was he able to do that? Why was this guy who was, compared to LeBron, so much smaller? Why was he able to be so efficient like that? Like, there was...
Because he's awesome. I mean, I'm not saying he sucks at all. I'm just saying...
What I'm saying is he did this in a league that, as you said, was much more physical. So, if you look at today's rules, I mean, come on. Ever since 2005, last 10 years, the rules in the NBA have been slanted to favor offense. All right?
Yes.
And okay, the way that the game is played now, why hasn't LeBron shot?
So where did that start, Mike? When did that start? Who did that start with? Where did that turn start with? The Jordan rules. The refs were afraid of him. He yelled at the refs. He would be like, "Fuck you," right to the refs' face, and they didn't do shit because there was a whistle every time for Jordan. That's when that all started. They used to market team versus team, Celtics versus Lakers, Bucks versus Knicks. Then David Stern came in and he's like, you know what, we need to make some money. We're going to market player versus player. So no longer is it Celtics versus Lakers, it's Bird versus Magic. It's Allen Iverson versus Ray Allen. That's how the league started marketing. And that's why these guys got all the money in the shoe contracts. It's no longer a team game. But that's not part of the debate, so I'm just saying. I want to point out one guy. Can we bring up the flu game? Can we bring up the flu game?
Well, I want to wait. Okay. All right, yeah, go ahead, man. Y'all, because y'all was supposed to stop about 20 minutes ago, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, the one dude in the comment section said it was like, dude, he was cool. Not when he was like, I'm saying this, man. Anybody that thinks Michael Jordan, dude, have you ever had the flu? That's a total lie. There's not a chance in hell that man has the flu. You ever had the flu? You can't get out of bed. You're going to tell me you went out to a finals game and scored 38 points? He hit the game-winning shots and he collapsed into Pippen's arms? Come on, dude. The real story is he was out drinking the night before and he was hungover. I mean, that's just, it's a bigger point. It's the Jordan myth. It's the Jordan legacy. It's the Jordan legend. His legend is scoring. Hoops is much more than scoring. It's much more. And most of your argument's been scoring, man.
Okay, now I did hear that, certain things were exaggerated, but I did hear that he did have a fever. He did, I don't know how it got to 102, 103 fever and all that, but I did hear he had a fever of like 99, maybe close to 100 as far as his temperature, and that he was vomiting in a room, in a darkened room, to about maybe 20 minutes before tip-off. Now, I did hear that.
I heard he was
you could look at him and tell he was under the weather. I don't understand how the hell you would still have a hangover 7 p.m. the next day if you were out drinking the night before. I mean, that's one hell of a hangover.
Not really. I don't know what shit, but I'm just saying, I didn't pull that out of my ass. That's like a rumor. Maybe it's fueled by Jordan haters. Maybe not. But hey, man, thanks for the debate. There's definitely going to be a bunch of smart asses crushing me in the comments. So let me fuck you guys. I'm just kidding. But thanks for the debate, man. 78.
All right, man. Yeah. All right, guys. 78 Sports TV. Tito Garcia, Mike Soul. You guys be the judge. Who would you rather have on your team? Who was the better player? Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. We'll holler.